Hi there. In this tutorial, we will use Redux in our React application. We will see that how can we configure Redux. We know that Redux is a state management library. Though React has a built-in state management mechanism called Next Context API. So why do we need Redux? Because when we work with a context API, we have to manually create all the boilerplate code. But Redux Toolkit already created that boilerplate code. We have to use just very simple way. So, and another reason that React is not a client-side application. Redux can be used both in client-side and server-side. When we work with Next.js application, then we can see that we can dispatch or we need some time to dispatch our data, dispatch our store from the server side. So in that case, Context API cannot handle that. For that, we need to use the Redux. So we know that React is a regular library like others because React has an ecosystem, and NPM library has three type of packages or libraries. Some libraries only work in the server side, and some work only in the client side, and some works both in the client side and server side, and Redux is one of them. So in this tutorial, we will use Redux Toolkit to configure our Redux store. So let's see how can we do that. Our application is already running, so for that we need to install the Redux. So add redux.js/toolkit, and we need another package called React Redux. So while our package is installing, let's go to our source, create a store, our Redux store is ready, but though there is nothing, but let's apply our Redux store in our client side. So for that, I have to go to my index page, and I have to wrap with the provider comes from the React Redux library, and this provider needs the prop as a store. So if I save my file, if I go to my application, refresh the page, I can see my Redux Toolkit is active. That means our Redux store is configured. Though there is nothing, but let's create our Redux store. We need to create a slice we will create two slices, one for user and another for products. So let's create two slices. Go to my store, user/.js, loading false and error is empty, and we need to create reducer. reducers to handle all our reducers. So that's it. So let's export here. We will get two properties. One is reducer and another one is actions. So our reducer is ready. Let's import this reducer in our store. So it will be user reducer. Let's import slice is equal to from slice user. Now if I save my file, we can see if I go to my store, I can see my user is created. So let's dispatch something in our store. Let's configure a user method called addUser or userAdded. We know that addUser method gets two arguments. One is the state, another one is action. Let's directly return an object. So we will at first copy all the state, and user will be actions, not actions, it will be action payload. Let's create a function for the here. Actually we need to another function because it appears dispatch here. When we invoke this function inside dispatch method, this function will be a dispatch method available like this one. So we pass user here and that user will be appear here. Now dispatch, we exported the actions. So actions dot add user and pass the user here. Now let's export this function. Go to our, actually not here, let's go to our home page. Let's create a user here. So we need to dispatch. So for that use dispatch hook from the Redux library. Now we have to dispatch. Let's create a button to dispatch. Now we will use this method add user. So and pass the user. So here we do not have any user. We will fetch our user from the backend. But for now let's put a hard-coded data. For that let's put the let's pass the user here. Now in our store we add our user here, so as soon as we dispatch our user will be available, but here we create a user but we do not have initial user, so let's create an initial user. Initial value will be null. So if I save my file, it says on click. I did mistype. On click, it will be on click. So let's go to our, if I click this user button, let's go to our state, we can see one user state appears and the user value appears in our store. So let's see, show our user in body. So for that we show user here. So we do not have user, so let's fetch our user from the store. For that, user will be use selector state.user slice. So we get our user from the user slice and pass the user here. If I save my file, I can see my users appears in my DOM. Let's fetch our user from the backend instead of hardcoding value. So for let's create an API function. Fetch user. The API comes from the JSON placeholder. So typecode.com/user/1, but instead of hardcoding 1, let's pass our user ID from here, and that ID will be here. So I have to move our string to JSON string. Okay, now we know that fetch API return a promise, so I have to wait. Now if response.ok not response.ok, then throw error. The error will be response.status_text, else response.json. We know that our fetch API, this API return JSON, so we pass the data into JSON. It also promise, so wait and return the data. Return. Now we have to call this use fetch user inside our here instead of hardcoding. Let's directly pass here, or create user is equal to fetch user and pass, for now pass the ID hardcoded ID 1, and it is a promise, so await and async. Now if I save my file, refresh the page, if I click this button, I can see my data comes from our backend. So let's see how can we fetch data, fetch user data with directly from the user slice instead of our application. We can see that we use the user slice here, and we dispatch or we pass our user as a test string when our data comes from the backend in our application. But for now, we want that we directly dispatch or asynchronously fetch. We will handle asynchronous data or function in our Redux store. Let's see how. For that, I have to go to my user slice. Let's create it will be createAsynthunk from the Rredux Toolkit library. We imported the Rredux Asynthunk, and it needs two things. One, the name, that we pass our name as a user. So let's pass the same name slash pass the same property as a add user. Actually, when we go our Redux store, we can see that first one the slice name and second one the method name. So this way we can identify or go to any timeline or any dispatch when we need. So it is a reminder. So this, let's see the same reminder here, that we pass the add user. So user, now it is a function, so it will be, let's copy our same code from here and pass here. It is a wait, so I have to convert this async. Now I create asynthunk return function. So let's put a name. Actually, let's put the same name, fetch user. Now, how do we append this fetch user in our API? For that, actually, let's put this in the top. Actually, it is not matter. And here we need the user ID, so let's put the user ID here, hard-coded user ID, and pass our user in the extraReducer method. That means our store has another property called extraReducer, and in extraReducer it is a object. We can use both as an object and as a function, but function are recommended. So it has a argument called builder dot add case, and the case is our function name or method name, which comes from the Redux thunk. It is the fetch user. And when this fetch user will be fulfilled, then we do this task, and again it return two things, same like this function. One is a state, another is action. Let's directly return here and the same code. So this time we do not use our add user method. Instead, we use the extraReducer builder. So this way we no need our application to handle anything. Like, let's comment out my this fetch, and no need add user, and no need these two things. So now I have the my builder method. So let's see how can we export, how can we dispatch this user. So for that I have to export this method, and in our app component we will import this fetch user from our this user or this function. So let's put here, actually this code is same, but instead of add user we will use the fetch user from the slice, user slice. Okay, now if I save my file, I will see the same result. If I click this button, oops, I get error. Let's see the error. Fetch user RedUxThunk return away, and the extraReducer build action. If I go to here, I can see that we do not pass the number. That means the error appears. So let's see, in my app I have to pass the user ID, not the user. So I have to pass the ID 1 or any ID. Let's here pass the hard-coded ID. So if I save my file, I can see my data comes, but this time no need this extra code here. That means all the mess handled in the Redux store here. So now here we pass the hard-coded value, like here let's pass the user value dynamically. So how can we do that? We need a state value, initial value is 1, and we have to pass the ID. But this time when we click this button, we want that our ID will be changed randomly. For that I have to go to the user handler, that means the get user handler. So let's create a random user. So for that random number or random ID, it will be math.random, and we need the decimal value. It will be math.random, but we have to start from 1 instead of 0. So now our math function is ready, but we need to remove the decimal value. So for that, floor and have to wrap the entire method here and pass the user ID, random user. So when we pass the random user, the user will be appears, and let's set the same value in our state. So set user ID will be the random ID, and let's use this ID directly inside the button. For this here, it will be the ID. If I save my file, I can see my default value. If I click this button, I can see my value is changing, and it immediately fetches from random value 6. if I go to my state, we will see that all the state appears here. So this is the how can we handle asynchronous task in the Redux store by the createAsynThunk in the extraReducer. We will only handle the fulfilled, that means it is a promise. So promise has 3 states. One is fulfilled, one is reject, and another is pending. So if we need to show the loading state, then actually we put the loading flag here, so we can apply the another method to handle the loading state. So that let's go to another slice, product slice. For that I have to create another slice. Actually, let's copy paste the user slice. When we copy paste, then actually there are a lot of chances to, there is the chances that it will lot of error. So it will be product.js and pass the paste the code here. This time we need to fetch the product. So for that let's change the heading here. It will be product and the add product. We do not append this slice yet. So let's at first append our slice. For that, this is the reducer and this is the product reducer. So let's comment out this, no need this one for now. Go to our page, index, import our user slice, product slice here. Import product slice from slice product, and name will be product and it will be product slice. Let's modify our product slice because we copy paste the product slice from the user slice. For that, it will be product slice name, it will be product ID instead of user ID, and we will fetch the to do. So you will replace the users to do's, and rest of this similar. This time instead of user will fetch product. So product, and known it will be product, add product, it will be product product, and everything same again. It will be product. Hope everything is same. Let's comment out this line because if we need to dispatch directly, then we will use this method, this function. Product product, and everything is same. So think there is no error or no mistypes, so everything is fine. So our user slice is ready. So now let's fetch our dispatch our user slice. We can dispatch this function or this function. So we will dispatch this function. For that, we export it, and let's go to the app page again. We see this, it will be the get users, and let's create another button to get product. So for that, it will be the same, it will be get user, product handler, it will be get product and it will be product ID. Let's create these two things. At first get product handler, instead of it will be the all. Let's duplicate this line, get product, what is the name, get product, and inside this get product fetch user, comment out this line and comment out this line. So we need to product ID, so everything is fine. Now we have to apply this product ID here. It will be actually not product ID, and this time dispatch, we need to dispatch, but in this time fetch, not fetch user, we will use the fetch product. Exported, it name change be fetch product. So let's go product, imports from the product slice, this time product slice and another on the user slice. Okay, now I think everything is same and okay. If I save my file, actually I say there is a problem. It shows fetch user, actually I changed the name, so it will be fetch product. So ESLint save my lot of time. So if I go to, now I can see there is two things. Let's show the product here. Inside app, I will create another slice for the product, so it will be product. Let's fetch our product from the product store. That means it will be like same thing like this one. Product from the product slice. If I save my file, now I can see it is a null. If I click this button, I can see my products appears. Now if I click this user button, I can see my users appears. Let's refresh the page. Click this button, I can see 1, 9, 10, but user ID is same. So if I go to my state, we can see our all the state, and if I go to my state, I can see that two state. One is the user, actually let's get some user. We can see our all the user data stored in our user slice, and all the product data stores in the product slice. So, and we dispatch or fetch our data directly from the user slice in the asynchronous middleware. So hopefully it will show how we can use the Redux with React. If you do not know how this Redux library works, I will create another playlist on Redux, so that everybody who has a little bit knowledge of React can understand. But as we discussed earlier, that Redux is not only the client application or client library. We can use both Redux or React Redux Toolkit in client or server. So let's see in another tutorial.